killing people, women, people, children. They were shooting. It was a hunt. By the way, it was in the Russian-speaking region in the east, where, according to him, everyone is speaking Russian. That's where they were shooting, where the situation currently is the most tense. They killed people. We sent this information, sent pictures, we sent them to the UN, sent them everywhere. We worked very hard, very persistently. I met with everyone, but who thought of Ukraine back then? They didn't notice it much. They didn't pay much attention to Crimea being illegally occupied either. And to be honest, the United States of America too. Everyone was somewhat silent about this issue. That's how it was. It was like that before a full-scale war. I want to ask you a question about the ceasefire in Mariupol today. There are American and Ukrainian journalists, and everyone.
The commander-in-chief needs to stay safe. So just my understanding is based on what he said. It sounds like in Ukraine, his position is also the commander-in-chief as well. He called it the supreme commander. That was the translation. It sounds like that their leader has the same role.
There are American and Ukrainian journalists, and everyone will tell you who had contact.
They mocked Romney for saying that Russia was a threat way back then, because Russia is not a threat militarily, and Russia is not a threat physically to the United States. Russia is only a threat insofar as they have become a schizophrenic voice in the American mind. That's how Russia is the threat.
In Mariupol today. There are American and Ukrainian journalists, and everyone will tell you who had contact, who has contact now with Mariupol, who fled from there in the last minutes just before the occupation, or who was able to leave to escape after the occupation. Chernov, who won an Oscar, was among them. And the journalists that left Mariupol, they are here. By the way, we had a conversation. They will tell you that 20,000, 30,000 civilians were tortured and buried there. We do not know the number of victims. People who didn't want to work with them, who refused to cooperate with them, people who went on strikes to protest, people who did not want to work with the Russians who occupied Mariupol. And this is one example, just with this city. And I have a question for you. What about the millions of children? And I will ask you in Russian so that you hear this without delay. What about the millions of children over there? What if we just arranged a ceasefire without understanding what would happen next? Without understanding what will happen to Ukraine's security guarantees? What about the millions of children in the occupied territories? What should I tell them? What am I to tell them? What is it I should tell them? What? Whatever?
Republicans and conservatives are the weakness that drags the United States down. Yeah, I would say MAGA, but when I talked to the Keys guy, Lichtman, he just hated the Republicans, period. He said it was way more than MAGA. And having dug back the last, 3 decades, I think I kind of agree.
Hey, all of you over there, see ya. And those tens of thousands of people buried there, they were... Is that what we want? Are we ready to forgive them for this? We must at least take the first step. If this is a ceasefire, we must know that there is a security guarantee for the part of Ukraine under our control. We need it so that he will not come back. This is very important. And what do we say to the people who live in those cities? These are millions of people. Did you know that since 2014, in Donetsk, in the Crimea, this is happening?
I'm glad that he specified in the beginning, because too many people say the war started in 2022, and I think I try to correct people when I hear that. It's not 2022, it's 2014. And then Anna corrected me, and I won't make this mistake because I also say about the civil war in the Donbass. It wasn't a civil war in the Donbass. It was always a Russian instigated war. I shouldn't even say civil war in the Donbass. It was always a war in the Donbass instigated by Russia as well.
Happening in Militz, 2014, in Donetsk, in the Crimea. This is happening in Melitopol as well, as in Berdyansk. They are making all these kids of drafting age go and fight. And if they don't go, they will be killed. Do you understand what's happening? That is why a ceasefire, everything I said, what I wish for, and I believe in President Trump's power to use all of this information to come up with a way to make Ukraine strong. And be strong. Why am I saying that?
my
Noxus is where the strong
Stein die Hand, good sire. Let us not bloodshed.
it seeks the fearless and
Ja, gerne. Too much hath been lost, while loss and more.
are you strong?
I will give you an example. President Trump will be in the same situation as I was in 2019. Precisely the same situation. I want to end the war. We want a lasting peace for Ukraine. We must do this. The ceasefire, exchange people, and then diplomatically return all territories. And we will do this through diplomacy. What will happen next with President Trump? If the ceasefire happens without security guarantees, at least for the territory we control, what does he get? If he manages to make a ceasefire deal, 3 months later, Putin launches a new wave of attacks. What will Trump look like? What will Ukraine look like? What will everyone look like? Putin will just do it. And why would Putin do it? Because today, he's afraid of Trump. But once Trump manages, for example, to do a ceasefire deal without serious security guarantees for Ukraine, he will give a pass to Putin. Not that he wants to. No, he does not want that. I believe in what he said. But he will give Putin an opportunity. Because in Putin's head, he wants me to fight with Trump. Putin's plan is to end the occupation of our territory. This is in his sick head. And I'm absolutely sure of this. That is why I told you, don't wait for Putin to want to stop the war. Pressure him so that he is forced to stop the war. That's important.
It's important to say that what you said about the children is a tragedy. War is hell. But let me say again, we must.
Hasn't America always been like this to an extent? Like, you never helped Europe in World War II because of Nazis, only because you got hit by Japan in Pearl Harbor. I think it's because of how far you're from Europe, but obviously Russia disinformation. I think that post-World War II, I think America saw itself far more as like a spiritual leader, I think, of the West. And I think that that took shape sometimes in physical forms, whether it was the occupation or restoration of Japan, or the massive amount of money that flowed to Europe, or it was through like treaties and whatnot, like through the North Atlantic. Okay. Yeah, and like these larger, like supernatural, these incorporating multiple nations, right? Like these types of things. I think America took a much more purposeful navigation as leader of the free world or whatever. But I think that the answer, or I think that the issue right now is like, when you listen to people talk about the United States, when you listen to people talk about Donald Trump, I think the issue is that right now, and I think unfortunately this is true, nobody really has an idea of what America stands for or what America wants. You always talk about America now as a country that's kind of being manipulated or used, or Trump is like this empty vessel to fill your own desires with, to try to like move him in a way that if you were to ask, like, what does Trump view America's role in the world as? Nobody, even MAGA, wouldn't have an answer. I don't know. How does Trump see America in the world? Like, we truly have no idea. Largely because Trump is just not qualified for the job of being president of the United States. He can't even have a vision for America. He doesn't have the understanding, even the modern understanding enough to be able to say so.
Forced to stop the war. That's important.
It's important to say that what you said about the children is a tragedy. War is hell. But let me say again, we must find a path to peace.
There is one.
What is it?
There is one. Before ceasefire, strong Ukraine. Strong Ukraine's position? Yes, we can speak about it with Trump. For me, we can speak about security guarantees.
This has been a second thing that Zelensky, or he's brought this up a second time. I don't think this is a real quote. I doubt this is a real quote, but there's that picture of the, democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting what to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. I don't know if this is a real quote or not. I doubt it came from it. This is saying it's fake. But you can't negotiate from a position of weakness because you have no leverage. This is realpolitik or whatever we want to call it. Like you need to be strong. You need to be able to negotiate from a position of strength. And this idea that Ukraine can just roll over and negotiate as a defeated enemy and accept, because at that point you're basically doomed to accept whatever terms you're offered. There is no, and Russia is not a country that's going to give you a great deal of leniency in those negotiations if they feel like you're in a position of weakness as well, right?
I did with Trump. For me, we can speak about security guarantees, but a quick step is NATO. A partial membership NATO. Yes, I understand. I understand Trump's feelings about NATO. I heard him. He's thinking through all of it, of course. But anyway, yes, NATO is a strong security guarantee for all the people, for us. Part of security guarantee. The second part is the arms aid package, which we will not use. If a ceasefire works, nobody will use the weapons. For what? But it has to stay. But with all due respect to the United States and to the administration, not like before, I don't want the same situation like we had with Biden. I ask for sanctions now, please. And weapons now. And then we will see. If they start it again, of course, we'll be happy if you'll give us more and you will stand with us shoulder to shoulder. Of course, that is right. But it's different when you have weapons. Putin wouldn't have been able to occupy so much territory. It was very difficult for us to push him out. But we didn't have weapons before, and that is the same situation. It can be the same situation.
I wonder how much of this could have been avoided if Obama held the line. I'm not sure how hard he'd have been able to push against Putin in 2014, though. I doubt it all. Obama just had nothing. There was just no leverage at that point. Iraq and Afghanistan had destroyed us. The Arab Spring, and then the Syrian civil war, and the refugee crisis that resulted. I think the entire world was burned out on. I bring up Iraq and Afghanistan quite a bit as undermining U.S. foreign intervention, but truly in Europe, it was the Syrian refugee crisis, I think, that shook all of it. I don't speak on that one as much, but I think that the refugee crisis after the big Arab Spring, I think is the thing that changed a lot of Europe's views on the Middle East, and probably also soured a lot of Europe's views on American foreign intervention as well. It was a hugely influential thing. I think a lot of European politics that would follow for the next decade.
I'm just sharing this with you. Like I said at the very beginning, I want to be very honest with you and with your audience. Yes, it's true. If we do not have security guarantees, Putin will come again.
To make it clear, let's describe the idea that you are speaking about. I would like to offer you other ideas too, but right now, your idea is that NATO accepts Ukraine minus the 5 regions of Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and Crimea.
Just so you understand the situation, the invitation to NATO is legislatively issued to Ukraine. So to us, all those territories are still.
Meet Odoo, the best open source website builder. Ready to build the perfect website? Let's do it. Let's start with the AI-powered website configurator. We want a business website for our car dealership with the main objective to sell more. Alright, now drop a logo, choose a few features, and boom, 3 gorgeous themes. Let's pick this one. To customize the content, click anywhere and change inline. Pretty easy. Let's make it colorful. Select the text and choose a gradient palette. That's perfect. The slash shortcut is super fast to insert elements. Use the right panel to style it with more colors and rounded corners. Great. And let's center the car. Beautiful.
Are still Ukraine. But NATO so far can only act in the past. That is under Ukrainian control. This can be negotiated. I am sure about that. Yes, this would not be a great success for us, but if we see a diplomatic way to end the war, this is one of the ways. So it is. Start. That is a start. Secondly, weapons, arms aid package. I'm not ready to discuss this publicly right now. It's all written down. And President Trump might have seen it or not, but we've got no secrets from it. Yes. So, but mostly it depends on the willingness of the United States, because some of it will come from the EU.
Would you support more regulations on TV news to replicate the impartiality of the 50s and 60s and prevent misinformation? I would have like 15 years ago, but it's too late now. Now the battlefield is on the fake news media. You have to be out here and you have to fight it. I think it's like a war now. It's too late to just regulate all the misinformation and lies away. You have to get more academics and more people involved.
Some from the United States, of course, together. So not just from the United States. No. We need unity with this package. So the package and sanctions. Yes, sanctions. But I think it's in the interest of all the smart people to not have Russian energy on the market in general. So he has to stop it.
I'm incredibly sorry, but with the way Lex Friedman carried that Zelensky interview and the topics he focused on, it's become fully clear to me how embarrassingly stupid a good chunk of the American audience is. My expectations were low, but wow, we are indeed living through this meme. Discussing Russian imperialism. Eastern Europeans with Western Europeans, with Americans.
That's all. It's fine. American oil, American gas is okay. Why not? And it's cheaper. So it will be cheaper for the whole world. The money will go to the United States. And I think he will be happy, and the president and your people will be happy. But it's your decision. I'm just sharing. Yes, and cheap oil. So Putin won't have so much money for the war. And that's it.
But this is difficult because it's a lot. You're saying to continue the sanctions on Russia to accept Ukraine into NATO. I need to ask you some difficult questions about this.
Yes, go on.
I trust and respect your words today. Many people respect and love you in America. Trump respects you.
Let us parley rather than
Oh,
passion.
come on now. Remember last time you corrected me? When I said that you love Javier Milei, you said, no, I respect you. So let's not talk about love today. But could we talk seriously about guaranteeing Russia's security?
Okay, can I interview you a little? Question is, what land is the war happening on? And
Yeah. Wait, what? Oh God, is Lex gonna bring up the invasion into whatever the? Is it Kursk? I don't remember. I don't even know the names of them. Into Russia right now.
where did it start? On our soil,
Yes.
on our territory.
Yeah.
International law was violated. The sovereignty of our country was violated. Civilians were killed. Tens of thousands of our people were taken hostage. And everyone will tell you this happened. This is what happened. When I speak with the global south, which is trying to balance the two sides because of the history, because of their roots, and because of their shared economic interest with Russia in the past, and now, of course, when you talk to them, they are speaking a little bit like you. I mean, they're balancing a little bit, you know, yeah, a little bit in between, but we will work on it. It's our first meeting. During the second one, you will be more on our side.
Yeah.
But it's just
You're very convincing.
we will.
Very charismatic.
Yeah,
Do you think Lex is genuinely pro RU or just brain rotted or believes everything must be? Honest to God, I don't know. I've spoken to Lex, I mean, not at all recently, not since our break journey. But I mean, Lex always felt genuine to me, but bro, I don't even. I mean, he felt genuine. I hope he's genuine.
thank you. But when I speak with them,
The thing that I'll say one, I'll give Lex credit for doing this interview and posting it, even if I think that doing it in Russian and all this, the extra language is retarded. I'll give Lex credit for posting this, for doing it and posting it. However, I will say that, and there's a thing that I've been focusing on a lot, when you fall into bad information environments, it is just so much, there is such an ecosystem for believing in bullshit that it is so hard to break out of it. You have to change, because now MAGA and the right-wing misinformation apparatus has extended to every single thing. Everything, right? If I go online and I watch my favorite like gym influencers, like they're all MAGA, and then I go to the gym and I work out, and a girl hits on me and I fumble it, and then I go online and I look up like dating advice for red pill people, they're all MAGA. And it's like, Jesus, okay. And then after that, like let's say I'm walking home and I just want to listen to like some comedians, they're making like anti-Biden, pro-Trump jokes, and their audiences are all MAGA. And then I get home and then I'm like kind of like loading up like random, I don't know, like whatever other entertainment, like Joe Rogan or whatever other normal like that's all MAGA. Like it is extended to so many different aspects of life. Like I'm driving home in my Tesla that's owned by Elon Musk, the company of Elon. Like it's just infected so much. And the idea that if I were to try to communicate with anybody in that world and say like, hey, this thing is wrong, not only am I causing some cognitive dissonance there in forcing them to reconcile something like, oh shit, well, that doesn't, when they go back to their ecosystem, it's going to be so much reinforcing of all of these bad talking points and all the disinformation, of all the bullshit. It's so much to overcome. It's so much to overcome. Aren't you just explaining people's choosing of their own media? I think you're being a bit extensive about the echo chamber reach. No, because you don't choose your own media anymore. A lot of it is chosen for you. For all of his issues and having a good back and forth conversation. Jason Paul was the last DNC chair candidate guy that I knew. One of the things that, I think he's the one who said it, right? That like you choose a little bit of your social media and then it chooses you. The algorithms like will feed you more and more information. You're not choosing what media to consume anymore. It's being chosen for you after you've made a couple of choices for things that will make you feel good, basically. Right? The algorithms and the AI, whatever the f to say, are not feeding you things to make you balance with the world. They're feeding you things to maintain your happiness so that you stay on the platform and then you click through more links on the platform and you consume more content on the platform. That's it. That's not maximizing for a truthful, honest world. That's just maximizing for things that keep you on the site for longer.
You're very convincing.
We will.
Very charismatic.
Yeah, thank you. But when I speak with them, it's very important. Even with their balancing attitude towards the war, they all recognize that this is a war. This is not just internal conflict. This is a full-scale war that Putin began.
It doesn't have to just be happiness, right? The platforms can maximize for rage, which just keeps you engaging. I think they generally optimize for things that keep you on the site, and I think that things that just rage bait or make you mad, I don't know if that keeps you engaged for as long. I think they do actually want to have you like happier on the sites, or feeling better.
And all of them. If you talk to them, they say, but then they all recognize that it's his own.
But like, just think about how many pathways there are to the right. Even self-improvement stuff. All the self-improvement guys, all of those dudes are interviewing all of the right-wing MAGA people, all of the far-right authoritarian, all the Weinsteins and all these other people. Like, all of them. It's just everybody now. Everybody. It's insane.
But then they all recognize that it's his own big mistake. Putin's mistake. And that he's not right. That's why I said, no, he's not right. And you have to begin from this. If you begin at the middle, between Ukraine and Russia, of course we can speak like this. You are in the middle and say, okay, what's going on? There is a fight. Where is the fight? It's not the fight like in Europe, when Napoleon is fighting.
Let us do the heavy lifting with Walmart grocery delivery.
Fighting against somebody in the middle of Europe. No, this is not in the middle of somewhere of the planet. Not the planet. It's concretely on our land. Country with one army, one person came to another. That's it. It's very clear.
Again, I would like us to find a path to peace. So let us nevertheless try to start in the middle. What other ideas do you think might...
Oh my god.
What if both Ukraine and Russia are accepted into NATO?
Like what? Like my fellow countrymen, why? Can we not? Like, why are we doing this when we have the opportunity to interview Zelensky, the leader of a country currently out? Like, why? Why would we do this right now? Do we really need to do this right now?
Putin himself spoke about Russia, maybe about NATO. What you just said is very correct. What are the guarantees for Russia? It's not like I'm even interested what happens to them. To be honest, I don't care what will happen to them in the future after the war ends. But these are our borders, and we must understand what is going on there. Well, the NATO guarantee for Ukraine. Actually, this is also a security guarantee for the Russians. Frankly, I talked about this many times before. Sorry, I'm speaking figuratively, but as an example, if you were a father who lost his children, a grown man, a man and a dog, and the war has ended, and he never got justice for real. For example, somebody decides to freeze support. We won't give you anything. You can't fight. You can't continue. So we stop when we stop, without any guarantees, without any support, without financing, okay. And nobody is held accountable, but the man lost his children. He will not get anything. None of the killers will be. All the sanctions will be removed, and he lost his children. And we have thousands of such people. Why do you think they will not go to Russia? We'll find a way, and we'll not kill the Russian soldiers there, or somebody there. Why wouldn't we? It's human nature. It's not about us. It's everyone. Read American writers. Always after any war. If there is no justice for people, there must be punishment for the crime. It is only justice. How come my child was taken away? The war took him. This is very scary. And even whether it was my son who was fulfilling his constitutional duty, or simply a missile that struck a civilian child, and if there is no justice and the killers are not punished, why wouldn't these people come back with hate? They will definitely come back. So when we talk about NATO is not only stopping Russia. Do not forget, NATO is stopping us too. Because there will not be justice for everyone. We know that NATO does not have the right to solve certain issues with war. NATO is a security alliance. It is protection, not brainwashing. What Putin claims, that this is offensive, is not true. NATO is a defensive alliance, a security alliance, and it is security for Russia.
But unfortunately, there are many options for peace. that don't involve NATO inviting Ukraine as a member.
Really?
Can you imagine security guarantees without NATO membership? For example, if America simply leaves NATO, I believe there is a high likelihood that Donald Trump would do such a thing.
I think it's very
What are we talking about?
bad for NATO. That's the end. That's the death of NATO. It is a pity because I think that it's a very good alliance. Maybe not everything's good there from the bureaucracy or money, etc. But totally, countries who are in NATO, they don't fight. There is no war on the land of any
NATO
of
country.
these NATO countries.
Correct.
I think that is the answer.
By design.
No, it works politically or military. I don't know, but it works. So without Trump, without the United States of America, there will not be NATO. That is the first. So, and you say, can we imagine that? That what? That
There is a world where, because what is it? I should know these. I don't know off the top of my head. I think the UK and France and who else still have nuclear weapons? Like theoretically, you still have a nuclear umbrella. It's just much smaller. And I don't know what the deployment capabilities of the other nuclear powers looks like, absent the United States. I'm not sure, but there is some really weak version of NATO that could theoretically still exist. But
There could be security guarantee without.
No, we don't need guarantees without the United States. That's it, because the United States is a very strong, powerful country. The United States puts the point. Of course, Putin said that it's just the Soviet Union, where, by the way, Ukraine was the second strong republic militarily. Yes, by the way, but he of course, always forgets about it. But during the World War II, without help of the United States, support of your troops, support of your industry, industrially, militarily, without your money, without your people, Hitler could win. So the United States helped a lot, of course. Europe, USSR, and of course everybody fought, everybody did a lot. But without the United States, it couldn't be such. I don't use the word success because I think that there is no war which ends successfully, because this is a war. 7-figure losses, heavy losses in World War II, millions of people. And that's why without the United States, security guarantees are not possible. I mean the security guarantee which can prevent Russian aggression. Of course, we have security guarantees bilaterally with some countries, financing, support of our internal military and defending.
Destiny, that's not the issue. The issue is that France will preemptively strike if the retirement age is raised too high, or if somebody accidentally steps foot into Romania. They are insane.
Security guarantees bilaterally with some countries, financing, support of our internal military and defending, and humanitarian issues, and demining, which is very important, and helping our children in the school networks. By the way, this is a very sensitive point. How many bomb shelters? How many bomb shelters we built with the partners for the children? And it's a pity that they are underground. But can you imagine their eyes? When they came after COVID, you understand what does it mean COVID? But they had COVID and the war, and together they didn't see each other for so many years. And when they saw each other, even underground, they were very happy and smiling. So we have such security guarantees, but it's not enough to prevent. Yes, preventive measures also work. To prevent the aggression of Putin. To stop.
You're right, English is better than my Russian.
God, it gives so much energy of talking to a black person and doing he speaks so well. When a black person can speak English. Oh God. Sorry. Isn't that just Lex admitting they should have spoken English? It's Zelensky.
I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but hasn't Zelensky had a conversation or two in English before? I thought he's spoken a couple times. I've only seen him speak at least once or twice in English, maybe?
I don't know. It depends on many things.
Now, to be fair, he's got the earpiece there, so maybe he's getting a live translation.
Might we not Finland
Once again, come on, without NATO guarantees. I have a dream that, let's say, on January 25, or sometime at the end of January this year, he will sit down with Donald Trump, with Vladimir Putin, and together negotiate a ceasefire with strict
What gain
security
is that
guarantees.
in bloodshed?
And an agreement will be signed. What will this look like without NATO?
I will make it clear. And so, first of all, I think January 25th or some other day. Well, you just call it January 25th. And
Make food this way in a flash with delicious 15-minute recipes from HelloFresh that go from fridge to fork in a few simple steps. HelloFresh. Homemade, made easy. And tasty, too. Wow.
Experience the movie that has everyone raving. Better Man is the most original musical ever made. Watch me take over the world. Better Man, everywhere Friday.
And I don't mind. It's my birthday. And we sit down. First of all, with Trump. We agree with him on how we can stop the war, stop Putin. It is important for us to sit down.
Why do you think Zelensky agreed to interview with Lex Friedman, but not Tucker Carlson? They both seem pretty pro-Russia. Anyway, I can still chalk up every disagreement that I have with Lex. It's becoming harder, but I can chalk all of them up with Lex is in a bad information environment and tries too hard to both sides things. Tucker Carlson is a full-on anti-American Russian propagandist, like anti-US, like anti-US propaganda, crazy person. I just have Tucker Carlson is just unbelievable. It is unbelievable what he has turned into. Yeah.
With him. Secondly, it is very important for us that Europe, which is very important for us because we are part of Europe. And not only geographically, geopolitically, but also in the European Union where we will be. For us, it is very important that Europe also has a voice. It's the second thing. It won't be long because Europe will be looking at us and we'll be looking at Trump. And by the way, I now see that when I talk about something with Donald Trump,
you rightfully call it Russian assets in RW, right wing, but not Russian assets in left wing like Bernie, Glenn Greenwald, Jackson, and Cutter assets like Jen, Ryan, Graham, Kyle. I don't know who you are or who you think you're talking to, but I have called out Glenn Greenwald a fuck ton. I don't believe Bernie Sanders is like a pro-Russia guy. I think he's Jackson, do you mean like Jackson Hinkle? Absolutely. Jank, I don't know about him. Ryan Grimm is highly questionable. Kyle Galinsky just has bad foreign policy takes. Tulsi Gabbard is fully purchased. Actually, I really can't tell for Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is one of the hardest to tell people because she is so fantastically moronic that I actually don't know. Like, anything is possible. Anything is possible with Gabbard because she's just so stupid. Like, unbelievably stupid. Why does my... I don't know why.
whether we meet in person or we just have a call, all the European leaders always ask, how was it? This shows the influence of Donald Trump. And this has never happened before with an American president. I tell you, from my experience, this also gives you confidence, that he can stop this war. That is why we in Trump come first, and Europe will support Ukraine's position.
I don't think you'll like this, but I think Lex genuinely wanted to be your friend. You could have been part of his information landscape, rebuild the bridge. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I can text him or figure it out. It's very, very challenging dealing with these types of people. I had a huge argument with a friend who was very critical of me during the Exploding Firefighter arc. And I remember that we talked for a while, and they were like, hey, I think that the way that you're approaching right-wingers is not okay. Like, it's just too aggressive. Like, you were making so much progress in terms of appealing to them, blah, blah, blah. And I remember asking his friend, I was like, hey, how many conversations have you had like this with people on the right? Have you ever talked to a right-wing friend or somebody in your camp and said, hey, maybe we're a little bit too pushing people along? Dead silent. Every single time. Well,
because they understand that Ukraine has every right to have its voice heard in this because we are at war. Trump and I will come to an agreement, and then and I am sure that he can offer strong security guarantees together with Europe, and then we can talk to the Russians. That's right. Not just three of us sitting down at once. And you still talk to me like that? Do you know how? As if Putin wants to sit down and talk, but Ukraine does not. This is not.
I think that, yes, he is in fact ready to talk.
Did you talk to him?
On the phone or what?
How do you normally talk?
I don't know. Normally by the sea. The same as with you. He invited me to the sea with me. Just the three of us.
No, one of us makes it.
Why is it not a serious response to that question?
I don't know. Normally by the sea. The same as with you. He invites you to the sea with me. Just the three of us.
No, one of us may drown.
Ooh, are you good at swimming?
Yes, I'm a good swimmer.
You're a good swimmer. Well...
And I would like to add that if you have any contact with them, I just want to hear what happens then.
I have never talked to Vladimir Putin, but I have a feeling that he is...
How did Trump manage to make this disinformation ecosystem? Did he run at the right time, or was there always this media script? No, Trump is just a guy who's in the right place at the right time. I don't think Trump is very intentional in terms of how he manipulates anything. He's a guy in the right place at the right time who happened to be able to take advantage of it. None of his navigating was very intentional.
To hear what happens then.
I have never talked to Vladimir Putin, but I have a feeling that he is ready, because Donald Trump is ready. I hope you are ready. And this is not just a feeling, but...
Like, even the phrasing of this, everybody's ready for peace but you. Zelensky. Trump is ready. Putin is ready. I hope you're ready. Like, Jesus. Like, that's so aggressively.
Because Donald Trump is ready. I hope you are ready. And this is not just a feeling, but a dream. I have a dream here that the three of you will get together and make peace.
Zelensky should say, what kind of peace should Ukraine accept?
Security guarantees look like that will satisfy Ukraine, that will satisfy Russia.
Ukraine needs security guarantees first and foremost. We are in danger. That is why they are called so. This is no joke. Let's take a few steps back. Interesting. Why are security guarantees, a strong position of Ukraine, strong weapons, and so on so important? I will give you a little history lesson. Although I think you have prepared yourself and know everything perfectly, well, you can correct me on that. Yes, Ukraine had security guarantees. The Budapest Memorandum. Nuclear weapons are the security guarantees that Ukraine had. Ukraine had nuclear weapons. I do not want to characterize it as good or bad. Today, the fact that we do not have them is bad.
I think Zelensky should change. He's probably way more than me. But I think Zelensky should change how he frames those Budapest memorandums. Rather than calling them security guarantees, because they weren't really. It was more just like hopefully, he should phrase.
Let us chasten our sweat in honor.
Phrase the Budapest Memorandum as a non-NATO security guarantee. What does it look like when we have security guarantees without NATO enforcing them? That's what it looks like. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything without there being like the full force and the brunt of the military force of NATO backing it. It's just words on paper, which is what the Budapest Memorandums were, which is words on paper. For people that aren't aware of it, basically in '94, Ukraine, Kazakhstan and Belarus all had, I think, nuclear stockpiles left over from the Soviet Union, and to return these aging stockpiles back to Russia proper, where they could control them, maintain them, and everything else, they agreed to give away, or to give back all of these nuclear weapons in 3 different separate agreements called the Budapest Memorandums. And they guarantee that if we give you back these weapons, you're not going to try to take our territory, fuck with our leaders, or do any weird shit to the countries. And the signatories to these were the US, Russia, and then it was Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan are their own individual ones, along with Budapest. It was like the UK, France, the United Kingdom, the United States, Russia, Ukraine, and there was one for Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Belarus. Oh, maybe France was part of this.
Why? Because this is war. Today we are at war. Because you have unleashed the hands of a nuclear power. A nuclear power is fighting against us, against Ukraine, and doing what it wants. By the way, even you are now talking about ceasefire, just a ceasefire. Maybe give flowers to Putin, maybe.
Also remember, a ceasefire is not peace. A ceasefire just means we're not shooting at you right now. That's all a ceasefire is. It's not peace.
To say thank you so much for these years. That was a great part of my life. No, we are not just ready for this. Why? The Budapest Memorandum, nuclear weapons, this is what we have. Ukraine used them for protection. This does not mean that someone attacked us. That doesn't mean that we would have used it. We had that opportunity. These were our security guarantees. Why am I talking about this in detail? Because if you take the...
Because what the Budapest memorandums now say is that if you don't have nuclear weapons, you're going to be invaded. So you need to be part of NATO, or you need to engage in nuclear proliferation. You have to have a nuclear weapons program of your own, because why not? Otherwise, you're just going to get invaded over.
Budapest Memorandum. By the way, I discussed this with President Trump. We have not finished this conversation yet. We will continue it. Regarding the Budapest Memorandum. The Budapest Memorandum included security guarantees for Ukraine. At first, 3. The most important security guarantors for Ukraine. 3 strategic friends and partners of Ukraine. This was in agreement. United States of America, Russia, Britain, France, and China joined. There were 5 states.
Okay, maybe they didn't join. Okay.
These are not even security guarantees. We now understand that this is not a guarantee of security, because on the one hand, these are security guarantees, but there was an English word, as far as I understand.
Assurance. Oh, yep, yeah.
It is translated as...
It means, we'll do our best.
Assurance? Assurance, right? And in Russian, it will be... And what? Assurance. That is, give up nuclear weapons because you were under pressure of the US and Russia for Ukraine to give them up. These two powers were exerting pressure. These two states negotiated to ensure that Ukraine does not have nuclear weapons. Ukraine agreed. These are the largest states. This is the nuclear 5 that does not even provide security guarantee. Now we just need to find these people, and we just need to put in jail all of those who, frankly, invented all this. So, confidence. Assurance. Assurance that Ukraine will be territorially integral.
Yes.
With its sovereignty.
Leaders and citizens won't be targeted or something.
A piece of paper. If you are curious, by the way, that after occupying part of our Donbas was violated. Ukraine sent diplomats 3 times. I don't think I remember 3 times within a few years. We sent letters to all security guarantors, to all members of the Budapest Memorandum. What did they send? That what was written on the piece of paper. Consultation. Ukraine holds consultations if its territorial integrity is violated. And everyone should be in consultation. Everyone must come. Everyone must meet urgently. USA, Britain, Russia, France, China. Did anyone come, you ask? No. Did anyone reply to these letters, official letters? They are all recorded by diplomats. Did anyone conduct consultations? No. And why not? They didn't give up. This is understandable in Russia, right? That as Russia didn't give a damn, neither did all the other security guarantors of the Budapest Memorandum. None of them gave a damn about this country, these people, these security guarantees, etc. We take a break. This will be a Budapest Memorandum. The last time with me, imagine how many years it was with me. In February 2022. In February 2022, the war began.
Wait. No, it's 2014. Then I get it. Lex likes Destiny. Destiny does not like Lex. To be clear, I can handle disagreement with anybody. I'm fine with Lex, and I'm fine disagreeing with Lex, and I'm fine going on to his platform on this game. Lex was the one that got really upset with me when my community was mean to him, and then I quote tweeted him once, just to be clear. Okay, so far.
Oh my god, the characters are so cute. Look, I got the star eyes. And look at the little bear on the back. Oh.
A full-scale war. Letters for consultation.
My God.
No one answered. Next, we are taking a break from the Budapest Memorandum. The question is simple about Budapest. Can we trust this? No. Whichever country out of these 5 sat at the negotiating table, just a piece of paper. Believe me, we will save you. No. Another. This is the train. This is a train with waste paper, with security guarantees, which Ukraine has been riding for many years. The second car on this train is the Minsk Agreement. The Normandy format and the Minsk Agreements, where it was written, where the signatories were. The United States of America was no longer there. I understand that Obama was here at the time. And as far as I know, I think they were simply not interested in what happened to Ukraine and where it was in general, where it was located. Well, somewhere there. Part of some. People, and let it be with these people. The United States simply did not participate in the Minsk Agreement. There are no claims to the U.S. because they were not guarantors. Where is the claim? A step back. 2008, Bucharest. Everyone has already learned from the Budapest Memorandum. Bucharest, 2008, Bucharest. Mr. Bush, President of the United States. Republican, says that Ukraine should be in NATO. This is the voice of Republicans. Check it out. Ukraine should be in NATO. Everybody's looking at the US, always. All in favor. Who is against? Merkel.
Can we acknowledge again how Zelensky is coherently putting together a compelling narrative in an engaging way, more or less off the cuff? Imagine Trump/Biden talking this long and this coherently. Biden could when he was younger. Absolutely. 100%. I'm not as sure he could now. Trump just doesn't have the knowledge to do it. Putin can do it. Most leaders in the world will be able to speak like this, especially when the country is at war. Or at least 10 years ago they could. But we just, in the United States, it's just now our standards are exceptionally low.
So she opposes. Everybody's looking at the US, always. All in favor. Who is against? Merkel. So she opposes, and she forced everyone not to give Ukraine an invitation to join NATO because that would be a step. Seriously, Republicans were in favor. The US was in favor. Because Republicans...
Doesn't Destiny critique Hassan when his community was harassing Ethan? If DGG is harassing Lex, doesn't Destiny have some control over that? So it depends on how you define harassment. Harassment isn't just write a mean comment about somebody. When people are saying mean things, if I think it's over the top or if it's not true, these are the things that I would try to inhibit. And even if they were true and it was too much, I try to inhibit it. But I think Lex is especially, I don't want to say fragile, but like very sensitive to negative criticisms online. Like I can only do so much. It's not like it was threads after threads after threads and all these tweets of like harassment, DMs or whatever. And it's not like I was greenlighting people on crazy Lex attacks. Like when Hassan says that Ethan is like a crazy Zionist going to like Palestinians, genocide. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same.
And Bush were not afraid of anyone. They were not afraid of anyone, and they knew that Ukraine rightly wanted to join NATO. She chooses so. And what is the question? Well, people made their choice. Well, and...
Why did Merkel not allow it? I don't know. I can't speak as much to Germany's motivations at the time.
She chooses so. And what is the question? Well, people made their choice. Well, and the Russians will not look at it. That was not the case then. Why? Because the Russians were different.
Somebody said energy reliant on Russian gas. And they want to cheat that.
Next, Minsk. We didn't succeed. After the Minsk agreements, as I told you, hundreds of meetings were held. I have had hundreds.
To be fair, you're greenlighting the Russian shill bit, which I think is valid, but it's obviously a huge attack. Sure, but I don't know if Lex has done much to dissuade that. Like, if Ethan was hosting crazy pro-Zionist after crazy pro-Zionist, and if Ethan was like taking positions that were clearly like insane insofar as his approach to the treatment of Palestinian people, then I would be okay with Hassan attacking him as such. The problem is I just don't think Hassan's attacks against Ethan are congruent with the stated positions that Ethan has. So I don't think that's fair. Sometimes you guys do this weird thing where you're like, you said it's better to harass this guy by calling him a rapist, but you harass this other guy by calling him a murderer. And like the first guy's not a rapist, and then the second guy is a murderer. It's like, yeah, it's different because one of these is true and one of these isn't. Yeah, but then also, yeah, I just like went off on how I'm not too, I wouldn't even say 1,000,000% that like Lex is a total Russia shill. It could just be that he's in a really bad media environment or whatever. Like,
hundreds of meetings since 2019. We could not think about a ceasefire. A ceasefire is our offer. This is not somebody's suggestion. This is mine. I would like... I wanted to. In Ukraine, society was divided. Not everyone wanted it. Half did not want it. Half were against. Half were in favor. Some of them shouted, do not believe it. Some of them shouted, believe it. I am the president of Ukraine. I was given a mandate of trust by 70% of the population to take appropriate steps, and I made them. This is not a joke. We'll just sit the three of us. I am simply telling you what is. This is, how can I tell you? These meetings must be serious and prepared.
Like if Ethan was doing an interview with Mahmoud Abbas, and Ethan was saying things like, and the entire interview was phrased from the perspective of like, why do you guys keep harassing Israel? Like, why are you guys so evil? Why is the PNA failed in its mandate to control the Palestinian? Like, and it was just aggressively phrased the entire time. Then I would probably, then I'd probably still look at Ethan like, okay, well, damn, I understand why people say you're a fucking Palestinian hater, bro. Like, Jesus, right? Where people's like greenlighting every single thing Netanyahu did over and over and over again. I'm pretty sure Ethan has probably said, I feel like I remember, I'd have to go back and look for examples. I'm sure Ethan has said a lot of incredibly negative things about Netanyahu. So it's just not the same.
And prepared with those who want peace. Ukraine wants peace. US wants peace. We have to sit down with Trump, and that is 100%. First and foremost,
Zelensky needs to bite my justice nut.
lot of people ask us what's the difference between Mudwater and mushroom coffee. First, we aren't mushroom coffee. Mushroom coffee is sort of what it sounds like. Acidic, processed, powdered coffee combined with earthy mushrooms. Not the best flavor combination. Mudwater combines mushrooms with a solid chai and cacao. It tastes like chai fed by a healthy baby. You don't even know if there's mushrooms in it. Second is we include more mushrooms than most. Most brands have around 700 milligrams of mushrooms per serving. We have between 2,200 and 3,000 milligrams of mushrooms per serving. Much more.
What gain is there in blood spill?
Third is more organic.
It's not peace line. Peace doesn't matter. Who cares about? It's just not about peace. Anybody can have peace by surrendering. Every single war ever. It's about justice, not peace.
Ukraine wants peace. U.S. wants peace. We have to sit down with Trump, and that is 100%. First and foremost, number one. Moreover, he told me on the phone that he is waiting.
I don't think you can hold people to your standards when it comes to these things. You're sort of singular in the landscape. Most people can operate with social allies. Yeah, I understand, but there's no reason. Like, Hassan could survive just saying that him and Ethan have disagreements and they went their separate ways. Or Hassan could survive saying that me and him disagree with things and we go our separate ways. But Hassan can't, he doesn't have to engage in the character assassination, and he doesn't have to engage in the outright lies. There's nothing forcing him to do that. It's not like he loses his popularity or his positions become untenable because he's not engaging in crazy character. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be like that.
And prepared with those who want peace.
We have a similar justice cycle. Yeah, he did all that.
Ukraine wants peace. U.S. wants peace. We have to sit down with Trump, and that is 100%. First and foremost, number one. Moreover, he told me on the phone that he is waiting for us to meet, and there will be an official visit, and my visit would be the first, or one of the first to him, and for him.
What are these? 660S.
This topic is very important. I know that he has his own matters, American issues, I understand. I heard his election program, but regarding international affairs, I think our issue is one of the most pressing issues for President Trump. Therefore, I believe very much, I trust his words, and I hope we will meet again. We need to prepare. We have many plans to build on, and they exist, and they are supported by many countries. But we need...
The big issue right now is that, like, again, what does the U.S. even stand for? Like, we don't even have a coherent vision that we present to the world. Like, what does it even mean? For, like, we just don't... yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
His vision. He needs to look at all these details, but his vision, please. Because he can stop Putin, because Putin is afraid of him. That's a fact. But Trump...
Would you not make the exact opposite argument towards Palestinians that they need to look for a solution, peace rather than justice? Absolutely not. That has never been my argument. When you go and you look at any of the conversations I've had with people, I've always said that painful concessions need to be made on both sides of that disagreement. I have always said that. I think I'll agree with Jenku. The change is not complicated. It's painful. That's the issue. I don't know if Jenku realizes it, but what he said earlier about Palestinians giving up the right of return, that is a painful concession. That has to be matched on the Israeli side with a painful concession, like a big withdrawal from the West Bank, like 500,000 settlers, like gone, or part of the new Palestinian state. Like if one side is going to make a painful concession, then the other side should be. And I think that's the big issue. I've never said that just one side needs to make a big concession on this ever. That is not true.
Is a president of a democratic country, and he does not come for life. He is not Putin. He will not come for 25 years. He will come for his term. Please tell me. Well, for example, he came for 4 years. And for the 5th year, Putin came with a war. Will it make Trump feel better that there was no war during his time and that Ukraine was destroyed after him? Why destroy? Putin is whoever, a killer whoever, but not a war. He will be prepared. He knows all mistakes. He understands how we defeated his army after the invasion began. He realized that this was not a Soviet war and that this would not happen with us. He will prepare. He will let everything into arms production. He will have lots of weapons, and there will be a very large army. And you think that after such humiliation, 4 years without a war, he did not finish us. He will return and fight only against Ukraine.
Do you think that the Canada annexation shit Trump keeps talking about is real or just a negotiating tactic? It's not real, but it's also not a negotiation tactic. None of these things that Trump is saying is a negotiating tactic. For some reason, people are just like buying that because like conservatives invented that rumor. Trump isn't even negotiating for him. He has no idea what he's even asking for. He's just an idiot.
He will destroy everything around. And if you say there is a risk that President Trump, will withdraw from NATO, for example, this is a decision of the United States. I'm simply saying that if it does, Putin will destroy Europe.
Yep.
Calculate the size of army in Europe. It's just that I say it for a reason. Do the calculation. Why did Hitler conquer all of Europe then? Almost. Just count, remember, his armies of millions. Calculate what Europe had.
The Voice of Business, a podcast featuring fireside chats with business leaders and insights into leadership, best practices, and small business growth. With yours truly, Nick Messino. Check out our latest episode right here on YouTube.
Thy driver is proven, no need for more proof.
Europe has. What are the largest armies? We have the largest army. The Ukrainian army is the largest in Europe. The second place after us is 4 times smaller.
France.
Yes, 200,000. I think the French have about 200,000. We have 980.
So this powerful coalition of European nations.
That will not be enough.
Yes, it's not going to be enough. But you're a smart man. There's a lot of ideas.